Hello, you gorgeous donut. Today we're going to be talking about one of the wildest situations involving a British TV show that I've ever seen. It centres around a show called The Jeremy Kyle Show. Now, if you're my age, you will remember watching this show at like 11 AM on like a day that you were off school pretending to be ill, and it was like the best form of entertainment you could ever get. The basic concept of the show basically involved getting like two people on who had a feud, and they kind of sort their differences out with Jeremy Kyle, the presenter, kind of mediating the conversation, kind of making it flow in a certain direction. And in this show, they would often have like DNA tests if they needed to, or they would have lie detector tests, and that's going to come on later in this video as to the reason why Jeremy is now getting cancelled. So hold tight for that. But I just want to take you through some of the wild scenarios that have happened on this show. I'll marry you if you prove you only cheated 18 times. Now, that is where I draw the line as well. Right, 18 times, that's too much. 17 again. 17, you can look past that, right? Anyone can cheat 17 times, but 18 times, that's where you're a devil, fella. That's where you're no longer a part of this family. My boyfriend is a woman, and my baby is a doll. A problem that we all have, right? A relatable one. Finally, a TV show that I can watch that sorts my own problems out. Killing two birds with one stone. I don't get how your baby could be a doll. Like, has it got a heartbeat, or is it just like a Polly Pocket? I have no clue here. Can you imagine, like, you're carrying like a baby for 9 months inside of you, and then it comes out and it's just part of like the Sylvanian family? It's just like one of those little dolls. You would be gutted. You'd be like, what? All this time for that? You troll the pubs looking for the man you had an affair with. Double lie detector. I'm not too sure what a double lie detector is. Does that mean like they test you twice? But then why would they do that? Because it was like, then you just have to do the best of three. Like, that makes no sense. What's a double lie detector? You claimed you had 4 women pregnant at the same time. Was I one of them? You know, at that point, I just don't even want to kind of contemplate if I was one of them. How can you have 4 people pregnant at the same time? Like, what are you trying to do here, sir? Populate a village? Have you saw that Netflix documentary where, like, that town, like, everybody's related because that one guy decided to just spread his sperm everywhere? That's what this guy's trying to do. To be fair, you could probably just call that place Burnley, right? That's probably happening already there. I've seen a few of them. They all look the same. If DNA proves you're my brother, you'll never be a part of my family. I actually think that's the opposite outcome. Then he is a part of the family if he's your brother, right? Unless you're shagging him. That would be awful. That actually has happened on the Jeremy Kyle show, where like 2 people who were shagging have actually found out they're related. And I was like, why would you come on national television to figure that out? But some people just, that's the only route for them to do it. Don't ask why. And I wish that that was the darkest situation that has happened on this show. But unfortunately, there's a court case going on right now that is taking the entire of the UK by storm. I'm seeing this all over Twitter, all over TikTok. And it centers around a guy that is called Steve Diamond. Now, he went on the Jeremy Kyle show to do a lie detector with his partner to prove that he hadn't cheated, and the lie detector test actually came back and said that he was lying and that he did actually cheat. However, like, when he found out about this, you can see in his face, like, he's like, whoa, like, what? This makes no sense. Like, genuinely, I haven't cheated. Like, when I watched this, I didn't think that he was lying, but the lie detector test said it was a lie. Now, I'm going to show a part of this clip, but I'm kind of worried about it because I'm going to talk about it later on in this video, because Jeremy Kyle has actually been trying to take down my channel, and you're going to see why later on in this video. But let's just have a little look at the clip and see what we think.
He says that she is utterly convinced he's cheating, has checked this, some of his Viagra tablets have gone missing, and he didn't use them with her.
He definitely used them for a wank, didn't he?
You tell my team I'm made up about being in the Navy.
Yeah.
And then somehow, you know, I got caught up in my own lies.
It was my ambition to be in the Royal Navy.
So as you can see by his face, like, he's already upset, and they haven't even gotten to the lie detector results yet. Like, he's clearly coming on here as like a last resort to prove to his partner that he's literally like faithful to her. Now, a lot of people going on this show get like hate for like doing like a DNA test or like a lie detector result in front of the whole of the UK, but these tests can be expensive. So for people that don't have a lot of money, it is actually quite a good method to kind of sort stuff out, because you're literally getting it sorted for free. It just comes with a lot of baggage because a lot of people from the UK are going to see you go through this.
Have you passionately kissed anyone else? She said no. Why did she say no, Steve?
Because I was telling the
Tess
truth.
says you're a liar, pal. Just so you're aware, you failed every single question.
Oh my God, I was never unfaithful.
Already, it's very intense. Like, this isn't paid actors. This isn't entertainment. This is actually like real people going through some real shit. The way that Jeremy always delivered the line of the lie detector is like, you're a liar, this test says you're a liar, you're the worst human being ever, blah de blah de blah. It was never like, oh, you could be a liar. They kind of marketed the lie detector result as if it was like 100% fact. Now, after this episode was recorded, Steve did unfortunately take his own life because of this situation and the trauma that I imagine going through this has had on him, especially when in his heart he knew that he was telling the truth. And this singular episode was the reason that the Jeremy Kyle show actually got axed, and I don't actually believe this episode actually got aired. They've tried to bury it until now when it came out in the court case. Now, that's obviously really upsetting that Steve thought that was his only option after appearing on this show because of the way that he was treated and the way that it was kind of marketed to the general public. The reason that Jeremy is getting took to court over this is because of the way that he would kind of use the lie detector results and the kind of way the show would go about kind of ruining people's lives. Now, an ex-employee of the Jeremy Kyle show has came out in a podcast and said this.
Literally get told, if you're not booking, you're getting sacked. And if you get sacked from here, you'll be blacklisted and you'll probably never work in TV again. My mental health was and I was thinking about walking into traffic. I realised that the lie detectors was all bullshit. It was like a sales job, really.
Yeah,
it's like the hardest, is that the most difficult sales job ever? There was like a leaderboard all the time. Everyone's like, oh, the guys, you can't trust them. You got to do this. You can't trust them. You can't trust them. They're bad people. And you believe it. So you're like, oh yeah, it's us against them.
The way that he's speaking about actual people, like obviously he's saying he was manipulated, it was his job, he was brainwashed, etc. But the way that they're kind of treating these people as if they're just like numbers on a leaderboard, and he literally said there in his own words, the lie detector test is bullshit. Now, I did a video on my other channel where I did a whole breakdown of the Jeremy Kyle show, and I kind of touched on this topic of Steve Diamond. However, ITV actually took that video down. They just blocked it so that it's no longer on YouTube. So it's clear to me that they're trying to, you know, limit how many people actually know about this, but now that this is public knowledge, everybody is now speaking about it. And in this video, I mentioned how an ex-producer on the show came out and talked about the Jeremy Kyle show. The ex-producer said, the show was an absolute circus. If a lie detector test was 50-50, it would be up to the producer to decide a result. That is genuinely awful. See, so that's like further evidence. That's two totally different people that worked on the show have said the same thing, that the lie detector test was bullshit. Now, I also go on in this video to kind of talk about lie detector tests in general, that then they shouldn't be used as fact. Like, if they were 100% correct, they would be used in the court of law, but they're not, because all they go off is how your emotions spike. And they, if there's a spike, they say like, oh, you know, your heart rate's increased, so that means that you're telling a lie. It's just opinion, really. It shouldn't be used to sort out the sort of problems that it was using to sort out. And what makes this situation even darker is that Steve himself, when he was answering the lie detector questions before he went on air, he even questioned the validity of this test to see if it was actually like plausible.
Footage has emerged of a Jeremy Kyle show guest being briefed about a lie detector test 7 days before he's believed to have taken his own life. Steve Diamond was found dead in his home in 2019 after being accused of cheating on his ex-fiancée. Jeremy Kyle, who's been giving evidence at an inquest into Steve's death, told him in front of a booing audience, "I wouldn't trust you with a chocolate button, mate." Steve's episode never aired, and the show was later cancelled.
Polygraphs about 95%, between 93 and 95%, so it's very accurate. But we're very careful. Part of the reason we have two examiners here is that we double check all the work before it goes out. So this test will be checked by Tristan,
right.
And Tristan, I'll check Tristan as well, and we make sure that we narrow the risk of error to a minimum. We can't guarantee 100% certainty, but we will do everything we can to get to that.
You just said it's very, very accurate, but then said it's 95% accurate. So that means if it was a room of 100 people, 5 people's answers would be wrong. Therefore, that's not a good test, because they could be like the 5 deadliest. Do you know what I mean? Like, how can you use this as a method to sort out people's real problems? Obviously, they do say towards the end of this, like, short clip with Steve, like, look, like, it's not 100% accurate. However, on the show, and I remember when I was watching this wasn't the way they made you think. This made you think that it was black and white. Like, if he failed the test, he was a liar. Like, you saw the way that Jeremy spoke to him. He literally said, the test says you're a liar. Like, straight up, you're a liar. And then says, I wouldn't trust you with a chocolate button, whatever that means. Whatever joke Boogie got that out of. It infuriates us because the way that they used to speak to like these people, like, and it was always working class people, they would always speak down to them. It was kind of weirdly like seen as like poverty porn in a way. Like the only people that they would ever have on this show were people who were working class. They never had like, you know, richer people on this show. They kind of just took advantage of people that needed the facilities that this show provided. To me, it just seems much worse when you find out that Jeremy Kyle actually grew up like middle class, like very middle class. It says here that his mother worked for the Royal Bank and his father was the Queen's mother's accountant, so I actually say that would be like higher than middle class most likely. Like this guy didn't grow up working class and then he's trying to help other people who are also working class. He, like the way he would speak to them was so condescending, as if he was like above them in a weird sort of way. Now I'm not going to get into the stuff that Jeremy Kyle's been through in his own life, but what I'm just going to say is the man is not perfect. The man could have easily have been on this show himself. Now, Jeremy Kyle has actually put a public statement out during the court case, like responding to everything. So Jeremy Kyle has came out and said, I was direct, but it was empathetic. It was honest. Mate, you are like the least empathetic man that I've ever seen on national television. You said you wouldn't trust him with a chocolate button. That's the worst thing to say to a man. He also went on to say that he showed some frustration that Steve wouldn't stop lying. I would arguably say that, like, I've watched this clip, like, that he is shouting at Steve. It's more than just frustration. Like, he's talking down to him. He also went on to say that he had total faith in the production team and the aftercare team. I have not been involved in the selection of guests. I was employed absolutely as the presenter. Now, when I read this, I was like, this is just his way of like being a scapegoat out of this. Like, he's kind of, rather than taking any accountability, he's just pushing it on, you know, the aftercare team. Like, oh, I was just the presenter. I was just the guy they paid to kind of just mediate the conversation, which is completely false. Like, your name is on the show. It's the Jeremy Kyle show. It's not like X Factor and then Ant and Dec are the presenters. Oi, shut up. You shut up. My dog's trying to get in, right? He hates Jeremy Kyle. Don't you? You got any words for the class? Have you got any words about Jeremy Kyle? Bro, what? You can't say that. He's still a human. Bro, what? Oh, he's cuddling us. You have to take responsibility for this. Like, the way that you would talk to these people, you're the reason why these people feel sad or feel happy, not the aftercare team. The aftercare team are just there to kind of cope with how you've made these people feel. They're kind of like the nice guy, the good cop, the ones that are trying to just soothe that the people have just had their lives ruined in front of national television. Can't believe that he said he was empathetic in his statement, because in all of the scenarios that I've ever seen on Jeremy Kyle, he is screaming in their face. Like, a lot of these people are bad people in terms of they've made mistakes, you know, they're probably going down the wrong route in life, but they're not animals. They're still people with feelings, and they're probably just reacting in this way because they've got their back up. The way you would speak to them honestly was disgusting. Now I've got older, like when I was younger, I used to love this show, and I think when you get older and you realize these things, you're like, oh my god, that show could never be on television today. And this is why I believe that ITV are trying to just kind of, you know, mask any existence of the Jeremy Kyle show up until this court case has taken place. Like I mentioned previously in this video, I did like a whole video essay on the Jeremy Kyle show and like the ethics of it, and they blocked the video, and then they obviously just stopped me making money from it, so you can't actually watch this video on YouTube. Like, there was no reason for them to do this. Like, the reason they did this was to just hide the fact that I was talking about it. Normally, if there's like a copyright claim, like a brand like ITV, like they've done it with a few of my videos, they will just take the money from it, so people can still watch it, which is like the most important thing to me, because I've put effort into it and I still want people to be able to watch it. I don't necessarily mind that, it's annoying, but it happens. But when they block it, there's a hidden reason for that they're not telling you. Now, a lot of the time with YouTube, it's like automatic. So for instance, if I upload a video and it's copyrighted, it'll tell us straight away, or it'll tell us like after an hour when like the person that is copyrighting it like files the claim. But that normally happens only on one channel. Now I have two channels, and I reacted to some Jeremy Kyle's clips on this channel. Now, after they went and blocked my video, that was a video essay on the ethics of it, they then found this channel and then blocked all the videos on it. So that means that somebody at ITV has literally searched my channel, searched everything to do with me, and went and blocked everything manually, which they're not allowed to do. It's an abuse of the copyright system. Now, you can see here, like, blocked, 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 ineligible copyright. Now, I've went on these and they're not copyright. Like, you go on TikTok, they're fine. They don't block the ones on TikTok. Other people have got Jeremy Kyle videos that are up. They're clearly allowed to have them. But for some reason, they wanted to block mine. It's so strange. And another funny thing is, Jeremy Kyle was actually in Chloe's work where she works as a waitress. I was like, will you please spit on that man's food? Please. Just use your one card. One time you can do it. You've got my permission. But obviously, you can't watch the video that I did on the Jeremy Kyle show, so I just want to end this video just kind of talking about the previous court case that they had where they talked about the lie detector result. Now, this is one of the head guys who worked on the show. This is what he had to say.
Have you inquired as to how effective these tests are? What the percentage likely success rate is?
Yeah, which is not 100%.
It's being presented black and white. You lied, and that is causing obviously considerable distress to the people receiving the results.
I think we've got to remember that, you know, the people that appeared on the show, you know, were the viewers. They had seen the show, obviously they knew of Jeremy's presenting style, they knew the accuracy because we'd made it very clear, so they were completely fully informed.
Again, there's just like no empathy to these people. Like, it's like, oh well, they knew what they were getting into. They knew that we were gonna ruin their lives. It's fine. Now, this clip obviously was before the clip they released of Steve Diamond getting told about the lie detector results, like behind the scenes. And you can see the way that they told it to him, it's a lot different to the way they're kind of explaining it here. So I kind of just want you to just kind of let me know what you think in the comments about this entire situation, because you can tell how I feel about it, but I'm just interested because it was a big show and I feel like a lot of people will have their own opinions on it. Anyway, let me know what you think of this sort of video where I kind of break down kind of current news stories. Would you want more of this? And if you'd like to watch a more light-hearted video from me, make sure you click this video right here because you will enjoy it very much so. Bye-bye, Donut.
Kirkham, baby.